It's like
I
crazy.
gotta add to that too, because the thing that was crazy to me is if you listen to the beginning when she jumped in, she literally said she blamed men and she said, "Well, it's because of men because that women's reproductive rights are being taken away." Because she specifically said women wouldn't vote against their own interests. And then now later, as you progress through it, she says, "Well, why are women voting that way? Because there's a bunch of women that think like you." And then she ends up saying, after she says there's a bunch of women that think like you, she then blames it on white women and says that they're uneducated. So essentially, it's like her argument keeps shifting. First, she's blaming men for controlling women through the vote, but then she's saying that it's women who are voting for their own destruction because they're uneducated. But at the same time, she started by saying women wouldn't vote for against their own reproductive rights. So it's so just the fact that she contradicts her own argument, that should tell you that everything she's saying is nonsense.
And on top of it, I think a lot of modern politicians negate the fact that a lot of women are fulfilled by family, or at least they need more support. And voting for the right to abort your child doesn't really align with the average American woman's interests. Maybe she wants more support, more education, more safety in her neighborhood. And a lot of modern politicians do not advocate for that. In fact, they advocate for aborting your children, or they look down on mothers. So, them, I think the queen is missing the point that a lot of women are still very much fulfilled by family and motherhood, and there aren't any politicians, or at least feminist politicians, that are like, hey, we're going to give you $1,000 for each kid like Donald Trump did. Right? So again, it's I think modern women, modern feminists are forgetting what the average American woman actually is truly fulfilled by. And they're not voting against their own interests. They're actually voting in alignment with the politicians that like speak to them.
If men run the government but women influence the culture, who really has the power?
Exactly. I agree. Women have the power.
Can you
I'm
elaborate
of the
how that
I'm of the
works?
school of thought that women that we live in a covert matriarchy, and I was saying that in the comments. I'm like, if you
Oh,
look at where the power is actually held in society, as far as education, like who educates the children, who raises the children in their formative years. If you look at even the men in power, we know that in this country no man rises to any power as a CEO or government official if he does not have what? A wife. So we always, for since the beginning of time, women have always been the ones that are spending the money. They've always been the ones that are responsible for the distribution of the funds. So the spending power is completely controlled by women. The motivation for most men and why they even earn what they earn is women. Most of what they're spending their money on
to
is to
impress
register women.
women.
Is to impress women. So it's like a man buys a house to be able to have a woman and kids. A man
Right.
gets a certain car to be able to have women. So at the end of the day, it's like women are really controlling the things that men are motivated by, and thus controlling women, which is why they always say behind every strong man is a woman. And I mean, and has been a known thing that women control kings, women collapse kings, women are responsible for wars by simply whispering a few things in a man's ear. I don't like the way he looked at you. I think he thinks you're a
Mm.
sucker. I don't like the fact that they're building that thing. I think they're disrespecting our nation. All she has to do is, I feel like he disrespected me. And that could be end up with two people. But I'm getting a phone call right now, so I'm a land there.
You're cooking.
Yeah,
I think
he
he's a feminist. I think he's I wanted to ask that brother if he's I hate the word feminist because I think it's an oxymoron, but I think he's a feminist.
well,
He's not a
Why?
feminist.
Yeah.
I mean, but
I want to hear what he says about that.
what he was saying,
Nah, I'm not a
influence.
feminist. I'm just saying what I've observed. It's like we
Yeah.
we we love, and because a lot of times women say, "Oh, it's the patriarchy that controls the world," and they blame things on the patriarchy. And it's like, well, what patriarchy? Like, yeah, there are men in position, But just because they're in position doesn't mean that they're the ones with the actual power. It doesn't mean that just because they're making the decisions on behalf of somebody doesn't mean that they're actually the one who's formulating the decision. And a lot of these men that are in positions of power, when they go home, there's a woman whisper in their ear saying, "You need to vote this way. You need to do this. I think you should make this decision. I think that this would be better. You know what? You need to be partner, because if not, I'm leaving
Yeah.
you." And you know what that guy does? That guy says, "Well, I'm going to backstab this dude because I need to become partner. This bitch going to leave me and take my kids." So at the end of the day, there's a lot of
Yeah.
nuanced things that happen on the back end that people don't realize, that these women are really controlling these men. And I'm not saying I want it to be that way. I'm not saying it's ideal that way. But I'm saying that that's the reality. Is like, I think a lot of men think they hold the power when it's really women that have the power. And I think women know this, which is why women can't be held accountable. Because why can't they be held accountable? Women can't be held accountable because they're the ones in power and they know it. So who's going to hold them accountable? You're not going to hold them accountable, because they're going to withhold the pussy. And as soon as they withhold the pussy, guess what? You're going to forget all about the accountability. You know what? I want some coochie right now. Listen, what you did last week, we could forgive it, baby. We could make it work. You know what? I don't want you to leave me and take half my stuff, so we could work it out. You get what I'm saying? And that's the reality that most men are living in, unfortunately. But it is what it is. And
I got a
I'm
question.
over the mic.
I got a question. Now, the real power that like Straight Like That was referring to, and people in the chat are referring to, do you think if women wanted that power, they could actually have it?
If they wanted which power?
If they wanted like
Absolute power.
power, like if they wanted, put it this way, if they
No, I think I don't think they could have absolute power. I feel like women are like, all right, you see how in Men in Black they had the little aliens? Then the little aliens, they had to live in a little suit. It's like men are like the suit. You get what I'm saying? Like the women are like the little aliens, like they're feeble. They can't really survive. So what they do is they control a suit. They possess a suit. They get a man in a situation. And by controlling the man, they can move through the world more freely, which is why so many women want to be married. And which is why I feel like marriage benefits, which is why I feel like marriage benefits women more, because I feel like when a woman's able to get a man to marry her, she's able to secure a certain level of protection and a certain level of resources and a certain level of status in the world. And she gets status also from other women, because it's like, oh, you have one. Oh, you were able to secure you a man. Lucky you. It's like a man having a horse. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you got a horse. Wow. Like, oh, you got a Benz. Like that's how they look at it as a status, and be like, wow, you got you a man, huh? Your life must be good because it's easier now. You got you that new appliance. You got you that thing that makes life easier, something that's under your control.
Ow.
Jay, real quick before
I don't
you
like
go, because
it,
I know
but it
you
is what it
gotta.
is.